I was just overthinking. Every month, join me for a journey through candid conversations where we explore the depths of overthinking, share fresh perspectives, and sprinkle in a dose of inspiration. Get ready to dive into the world of introspection and self-discovery with us. Enjoy the episode. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. We're at the end of March now, and I think I missed the February episode, but I do apologize to my lovely listeners, to my lovely audience. Life has been really busy, but I'm back at it with the March episode. This month's episode is going to be something that I have learned and thought about throughout my adulthood. And it's something that has been quite an instrumental part of my growth mentally. And I wanted to share that with you all. It's not going to be a very long episode, but I did want to share these thoughts with you guys. Obviously, this podcast is somewhat related to mental health. Overthinking is and has been a big part of who I am. However, recently, be it through the means of this podcast or just working on myself and growing in so many areas of my life, has made me overcome certain bits that I always found difficult when it came to my mental health. One of them being is obviously stress. I mean, stress is clearly part of everybody's life to, higher or lower degrees, and each and every single person's experience. Of course, it's always going to be different for everybody, but I do believe that everybody is exposed to a degree of stress. I think it's important as you grow up to understand how to handle stress. I think the most important thing, the most grown-up thing you can admit to yourself is that stress will always be part of your life. The more successful you are, the more older you get, the more responsibilities you have in your personal life or in your work life. Regardless, stress will always be a factor. Obviously, maybe some sort of negative connotation around the word could be associated with negative feelings. However, it's all about programming your brain into thinking whatever you want it to think in the way that will serve you in your soul and your being and your presence. In my opinion, stress will never go away. Stress factors, could be your job, it could be something happening in your family, in your relationship. Stress will always be there. The way forward, at least the things that have helped me, or the approach that actually helped me overcome being so affected by it, is basically how I approach stress and how I deal with it. The biggest, and maybe this could sound very stupid, but I think you're only stressed because all you're doing is stressing over that stress. I think I said stress too many times, but bear with me. Most of anxiety for me comes from inaction. And it's the same with stress. Stress factors are always there. Throughout your life, you build somewhat resilience towards it because you either get used to it because it's, you've lived somewhat longer life and you know what to expect. You know how to handle certain situations. There is a level of familiarity to stressful situations, and you know who to rely on, you know what you feel, and you know somewhat subconsciously where it's gonna go, or intuitively you know how it's gonna go down. So age definitely plays a role in that building up of resilience, but at the same time, again, for me, the biggest part there is how you handle the stress. If you are feeling stressed out easily, is because you're probably not doing anything to solve the problems that are causing whatever this stressful situation or this stressful feeling is. In most of the situations in our lives, from experience, if something happens that I can somewhat control, I used to be slightly paralyzed by it because I would be more driven by my emotions around the stressful situation. I would go into the scenarios where I'm thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? This is this is so bad. Like, I'm so stressed out. Everything is gonna go horrible. Everything is gonna be ruined. People are gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad. Blah, blah, blah. And like, it's hard to talk about a very vague, stressful situation, but I think you can probably relate to what I'm saying. You start to think about all the possibilities and consequences of things, but the only thing that does make stress go away is you acting on something that is within your control. A lot of the times, that anxiety would just simply disappear because I would act on it. I can't say that I got to that stage very easily or very quickly. I can happily say that I am at that stage now where I'm rarely inactive in situations where things are stressful or they're stressing me out. I've maybe even gone to the other side, and every time I can feel that something can stress me out or give me anxiety, I tackle it head on and I just fix whatever I can fix. Or let's take a simple example. If I know that there is some sort of task at work, I know that it has to be done, there is maybe some sort of pressure on it to be done. Instead of sitting there and stressing over it and thinking, oh my God, like, when am I going to do it? I'm not going to get time to do it. How do I do it? Oh, this is so stressful. What if I can't do it? Blah, blah, blah. All of these like anxious scenarios in your head. The easiest thing is you wake up the next morning, open the laptop. That's the task you take on. I get it. We have a lot on our plates in our lives. But trust me, that one thing that's giving you the headache, tackle that first. That should be your priority. Just learn in general about what you prioritize. For me, my mental peace is a priority. It's one of the top ones I have. If something is going to give me anxiety, if something is going to give me stress, and I know that I can fix it, immediately get up, do it. Am I saying that I've always been like this? Absolutely not. That's not true. It took years of understanding this message and being confident enough to tackle problems head on, but it's definitely something that I urge you to learn how to do. That is the best way you can handle stressful situations or anxiety. But again, don't forget that this only can apply to situations where you are in somewhat control, or there are things that can be fixed by your direct actions. Okay, the rest of it, unfortunately, is all about resilience. I say unfortunately because we can't control certain situations in our lives, right? It's the fact of life. We don't control everything. We can only control things that are very much of like our own capacity or our own capability. You can't control the weather. You can't control how someone else feels. You can't control how someone else acts. You can't control events, okay? It's just how it is, and we need to be strong and resilient enough to understand that message. It's a very short message in this episode, but I think it's an important one. It's something that, again, it took me a long time to master, but I've noticed how much mental space it gives you, because now that you're not really spending all of your brain power on actually being really anxious and thinking about the worst case scenarios and every single thing, you're thinking about, life. You're thinking about greater, bigger things, more positive things. And it does make a huge difference. The amount of mental capacity and space I've got for other things in my life is beautiful. Especially when you do have tendencies to overthink and get anxious about things, the mental space is like the one luxury that you can't almost afford. But thankfully, through growing my mindset and becoming more resilient, be it indirectly through practices, my habits, or new things that I'm doing in my life, that resilience is built and is being built. And it is very important to understand this message that you're only stressing over things because you're not acting on fixing anything that is within your power. Let's say that you applied for a job. Don't stress about not getting it immediately. Yeah? Don't stress about any of that. That's useless to you. That takes over your mind and doesn't help you. It drags you down. Try to stay positive, but staying positive is also something that comes from your behavior, from the actions and decisions that you make on a daily basis, right? Let's say you applied for a job, you really want to get it. What's the first thing you do? Research the shit out of the job, the company. Look at your CV. Make sure you write a cover letter. Do things, go above and beyond to get it. If you really want to get it, don't half-ass things. You know, that's like as simple as it can get. Make sure that at the end, if you don't get the job, you will know it's not on you. It's just not meant to be. It's just not for you. You know, you need to make sure you do your best. That's the only way you won't feel bad about the outcome, because the outcome is something that you can't control. I say that, right? You can't somewhat control the outcome, but you can control the bit where your contributions matter. At the end of the day, you are the candidate. Okay? Again, this is a very simplistic, narrowed down example, but hopefully the message is understood. Put your best foot forward. Do your best in any situation. Do anything that's in your power. Go above and beyond. You will regret if you don't. Think of stress as a factor that will always be there. Think of it as, again, probably the most basic analogy here, but it makes sense, right? It's waves. Sometimes they'll be intense, sometimes they'll be super chilled. All you can do is, stay above the water, surf a little, staying above the water. Step 1. Step 2, finesse it, get on the surfboard, start riding it very gracefully. And that's all about the mindset, right? Like, ride the stress out beautifully. Don't let it consume you. Do everything you can and let go. It's a very short episode, but I leave you with those messages and you do what you want with those messages. I'm sending you all of my love and good energy. I hope you're having an amazing time, whatever you're doing, whatever the time of the day it is. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's I was just overthinking _ Make sure to give the podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to. I was just overthinking. And if you want to become a subscriber, Buzzsprout allows you to do that. If you want to contribute to the pod, go for it. There is a link in the description of the episode. And until next time, bye.